It's awfully hard to think that it's been 10 years, but apparently it has. I want to tell you who's playing. This is Dylan Verge on the drums, and this is Jim Zawadowski on the bass. And we're very proud to be here for the 10th year in a row to play this song, written and recorded for this amazing place, Garden Peace. The Garden. There's a God down on the river, rich with the seeds we sow. That's where it closest to me. I'm waiting here, darling, as the night fills the sky.
Thank you, ladies and Dylan, and everyone there. I just love hearing that song every year to kick off the program. So, good evening, everyone. Some of you have been here before. For those that haven't, welcome. My name is Zia. Leah Green, I'm the chair of the board of the Garden of Peace. I want to welcome all of you here to the program, the 10th annual event. remember 10 years ago, we were here, and it's amazing how far we've come. Unfortunately, last year we had 862 meetings, and this year we are over 900 and 901. So unfortunately, we hope that we wouldn't have to have this garden. But we are fortunate that we have a place to provide all of you, the survivors, family members, friends, and loved ones, to honor all those that are in that will be added and remembered here this evening. And tonight, as an all-honor program event, is a very special evening. It's amazing. We send out invitations, and we don't even put an RSVP or have to RSVP. Hundreds of people show up here. It's a special community. I just want to take a few minutes to thank some very special people here this evening. The event doesn't happen on its own, or just one person leading it. It takes a village, but I do want to take a few minutes to recognize some people from, organizing the program, bringing ideas to the agenda, bringing together great music, bringing together wonderful speakers, and also, little things working, candles working on speaking with the survivors. We're not perfect, but we're doing our best as a volunteer organization. I do want to apologize, our phone was down for a few weeks, and so we work as responsive. We apologize for that. Tonight, leading this event, I will say, our chair, Ms. Sri Faja, and she has been part of the board for a couple of years, and since she's been kind of leading this event, has brought some new energy and people, and so I really want to take a minute to thank Jude for her leadership in this. I also want to thank some other board members, Diane McDonald, Katya Santiago Taylor, Christine Chickalillo, Tony True, but not far away. Kyle David, Evan Tobin, another former doctor, Arnie Muskovitz, Annie Fox, and Michael Santos for being our speakers this evening. Really thank all of you. I do want to say a couple more quick thank yous. I want to thank Nate Hamilton and the folks at CBRE here at 100 Cambridge. Every year they provide us with people and staff to help before the event, after the event, store what we need here. It really makes it easy and better for us in the long run to get this event ongoing. They also watch the garden for us on a daily basis, and they make sure that the trees are growing and the shrubs are cut, and whether they're not, they let us know. We figure out a way to fix it. I also do want to note as well, we obviously have a new mayor in Boston. He was invited, but of course is out in Ireland flying out this evening, so unfortunately the time didn't work. But he's sending representatives here from his staff and his survivors of Boston police officers, so they're never far behind and always in care of the garden. So I'm just going to take this time to introduce a woman who really doesn't need an introduction, but I think we should. She's a very special friend of the garden and has been. Every year she reaches out to us to make sure she knows what date this event is, to make sure she can be here. She plays the role as MC, and we're really grateful. Each has been obviously the Attorney General for 8 years, and prior to that as an SXTA for 8 years, and working there for a number. So she understands all of the things that you go through from being a prosecutor for so many years on high-profile cases to the smaller cases, and she just really cares about victims. She cares about survivors, and we couldn't really be more thankful to have her there this evening. As you can imagine, her schedule is very busy. So with that, I'll introduce Martha Copeland.
Thank you very much. And I want to welcome everyone to the 10th Annual Garden of Peace Honor Program. As Leah mentioned, it would be nice not to have to add new stones to this wonderful garden. And I have come to learn that the garden is not just a place, it's an idea. It's an idea about what we can do in our pain and our grief, to find some resilience, to find some strength from each other. We all find it in different ways, but I know this night is a special meeting for me, and I know it does for you here. And I want to welcome those who are here for the first time, to honor a loved one who's been taken by violence, and I want to welcome those of you who have been here since the beginning. We all come together each year with a shared experience of the senseless loss of some family member, a friend, a brother, sister, daughter. And I know that for everybody this night has a different meaning, perhaps a painful meaning, but we're all glad that you are here with us and that we're able to take a few minutes for what this garden stands for, this place and this idea. Together you've carried forth the memory of your loved ones. You've ensured they're not defined by their last moments, but by the lives that they lived, and that's what we remember. Each year we come together to honor all those who've lost, and to share hope that one day, there will be more names to add to this garden of peace. In the meantime, I wanted to add a special remembrance to all of those who are here, who have unsolved homicides, who have lost loved ones but still don't know what and why. Right? Just to recognize that Bob Ward is here. I know that his district attorney is Attorney General, and I know he has a special relationship with many families here, working on those cases that we never give up on, that we always hope that we will find a resolution. I know Bob does a very special and good job in helping with that in the public. So thank you all for joining us tonight. It's an honor to be with you, and I am now honored to introduce our evening's keynote speaker, Will Morales. He's no stranger to violence and homicide. Will was a former gang member himself. He was in prison at the time his younger brother was killed in a fatal shootout with police. Upon his release, Will Morales sought opportunities to help end the violence devastating his community. From his early volunteer work in gang intervention efforts and community development programs, he's become a leader, an advocate, and a beacon of hope for youth in Boston and beyond. He is a survivor, and he serves today as the executive director of the Boston YMCA Achievers and the Eggleston Square Youth Center. Please join me in giving a very warm welcome tonight to Will Morales.
I can tell you that I'd like to thank you for the friends of the Garden of Peace for having me here tonight. But most importantly, I want to thank all of you to share this moment in this milestone 10th anniversary year. So thank you. As I walked in the garden, I saw and recognized certain key names. Jose Correa, Pedro Sosa, Louis D. Brown, to the chairman, I went to college together. She made sure I showed up the classes. And you feel this song. And I can honestly tell you that most of the time when I deliver a speech, 99% of my speeches are given to individuals, groups, or organizations to understand what the impact of violence is in our community. So when I was asked to speak here tonight, I felt a little stunned because you all know how ugly violence is. You know it just as well as I do. So I'm really speaking to individuals who I feel can probably be able to give this speech a whole lot better than I can. Grief is defined as the continuing process of mourning, in which one learns to live with loss. Defined as a continuing process of mourning, through which one learns to live with loss. In my line of work, I have witnessed the passing of young people before their time. They were executed by individuals who chose violence as a means to address conflict. when a loved one dies, those left to mourn or survivors often find themselves entangled in a complex web of emotion and reactions. The death of a loved one can be an overwhelming, frightening, painful experience. The social and physical effects of loss are articulated through the practice of grief. I guess, in some way, I am condemned to live a life sentence of grief. Just like you, since I've been dealing with violence since my birth. I was raised in it, and today my career revolves around this issue of violence. At the age of 8, I watched as my uncle Chucho was playing dominoes on the corner of Keith and South 3rd in my childhood neighborhood of Brooklyn in the community of Williamsburg. I know that there's a myth that Latinos are big into baseball and soccer. Dominoes is the killer sport in our community, okay? I recall keeping my eyes fixated on his domino hand. He had a double 6, a 2-5, and a 4-5. You see, I was trying to learn the game at the age of 8. And for some reason, I do not know why my eyes could not come off his domino hand, but I can remember someone walking right beside me. And all of a sudden, all I could hear was someone yell, "Choo-choo!" And bang! I don't know how I ended up on the ground. I don't even know how I ended up inside our apartment. But I remember my mother trying to talk to me, and I could not hear a thing because I could still feel the pounding, ringing that was inside my ear from the gunshot that went to the back of his head and came out from the front of his face. And I remember my mother trying to wipe my face down and tell me, let's not say anything. Let's keep quiet. I think she was afraid of the retaliation. But I remember parts of his body tissue on my face. But I remember also there was a time that communities looked at violence very differently than we look at it today. And it was hushed. And I had no community mourning. I didn't even understand what mourning was. Because I couldn't even understand what had transpired and what had happened. But I also remember that during those years of growth, I remember standing on the threshold of my parents' room, and I could see my father beating my mother over and over again. And I could remember that my only role was, "Nene, busca la carne molida." Son, go get the hamburger. And I was supposed to put it over the worst eye, meaning where we should get the worst eye meeting at that time. I remember that between my uncle's death and what I was experiencing at home, this thing called violence became something normal. And I would love to say that I was the exception, but in too many of our communities, there are children growing up thinking that violence is normal. By the age of 10, my mother made the great escape to leave Boston to emancipate herself from this violence, to seek a better life for me and my brother. As much as she tried to make life better, things just continued to get worse. Soon enough, we found ourselves in foster care. By the time I was 14, I dropped out of high school. By the time I was 15, I was shot. By the time I was 16, I was stabbed 3 times. And because the laws that they passed on the war and drug dealer, I would become that first barrage of young men who will end up going to prison on a 10-year mandatory sentence. I remember going to prison and looking at prison as if it was a rites of passage, the crowning moment of my manhood. But here I was, this young man, entering my man in a place surrounded with the rest of the nobles. See, violence felt too normal to me, and it shouldn't. My life could have been there, appraised in prison. But one night, as I sat in my jail cell and watched the news, and I hear about a young man engaged in a shootout with 2 Boston police officers. I remember jumping off my bed, glorifying that it was the second coming of Jesus Christ. Because I didn't know who the individual was, or what had transpired, or what had happened. I was in the dark. But I recall when the 2 correctional officers came to my cell block, opened up my door, and said, "Morales should be coming with us to take an emergency call." And I remember that when I put the phone up to my ear, I could hear a house crying. I could hear people whimpering. I can actually feel the tears coming through that phone. And when someone found my mother, I remember she took a deep breath, and she said to me in a very angry tone, "I expected this from you. I expected this from you." And I knew that the person who had done the shooting, the person who committed that act, and who lost his life, would be my younger brother, who was the direct opposite. A young man filled with talent, who played musical instruments, but I think that when you're caught up in the web of violence, sometimes it's hard to get entangled. In 1996, I would be released, and I would come back not knowing what my community wanted. But one thing I did know is that they didn't want me around. I tell you that. I said that. Okay? I came to a community that was now organized, a community that was very much changed. But I came back with a desire to be a very different individual, but I did not know how to make it work. Today, as I walked that garden, I saw the brick of Jose there. See, Jose was known on the street as Breck, so he ran the streets with me. 2 weeks after my brother's incident, Jose was shot. Bullet entered his face, ricocheted from his jaw, and came out his spinal cord, leading him to quadriplegia. When I connected with Jose had committed the rest of his living years, knowing that he had a very short lifespan, to make sure that young people don't fall into that world of drugs, gangs, and violence. And that he was going to do everything that he can to basically wheel violence away from our communities. His work inspired me to become a youth worker. And his work made it possible for me to see a very beautiful life. Because if he can commit himself to making himself an instrument of change, why can't I? I remember the night before he passed away, he looked at me and he says, "We were willing. We're breaking up the team." Because we did high schools together, and we did speaking engagements together, and we shared our story. And he says, "The team is breaking up, but the one thing I need for you to do is to make sure that you can continue this walk for me. And I will continue that walk. His walk led me to another one of your memorial victims that are here, Pedro Suazo. He was a young man that was upstairs at the Greater Evanston Community High School, and he was part of the conservation club of the school, and at the Y, we had a Y service club. So we had advocated to create a little community garden that would be an educational medium for kids who wanted to explore those careers in the greening industry. 3 weeks after Pedro passed away, he would be killed. And our little educational garden would become the Peace Garden in Emerson Square. Today, I continue to be the steward of that little Peace Garden. It's a garden that not only celebrates the lives of the young victims of gun violence, but also celebrates the lives of some of our most notable champions against peace, who are no longer with us, but their spirits continue to embody us every day. And so it's a beautiful thing to know that in a very urban part of our community, there's a garden that complements this one as well. Now, I didn't come here to tell you how to breathe or how to cope. Each of you are doing that in your own way, shape. What I really want you to do is to take one moment. Look to your right. Don't look at me, look to your right. Okay? Look at the person sitting next to you. Now look to your left and look at that person. Let's make eye contact, people. Okay? I want everybody to stand up and take a good look around. What I did come here to tell you is that you're not alone. You are not alone. You are in a community that is here to support you and to be with you. But most importantly, this is your healing community. Please make best use of it. Thank you for having me here today.
Thank you, Will. I think if we take anything from Will's words, and there's a lot to be taken, that violence is not inevitable. We don't have to expect it. For every person who does what you do, you provide an example to somebody else. And we all must do our part. Thank you. I want to recognize Commissioner Evans, who's here with us tonight, from the Boston Police Department. And thank you, Will, for those remarks and the work that you do to prevent violence and provide that hospitality for giving us this inspiration tonight. Joining us tonight out of Fitchburg is a talented group, The Tribe, the world's first enterprise rock band. They'll be performing Will I Ever, written and sung by Ben Nardell. So please welcome The Tribe to the Garden of Peace.
Never had a chance to say
in my heart. You're still here with me.
Let's give another terrific round of applause for that. I think this is going to be better without the band. Thanks. Next, I'm honored to introduce this year's Voice of Survivors, Annie Cox. Annie's a Garden of Peace board member. She's going to share with us tonight the story of her beloved family. Annie?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight and participating in the Garden of Peace 10th Annual Honor Program Ceremony. I want to tell you about my personal story. My son Dana was a real gentleman, full of life, joy, happiness, fun, and a well-balanced sense of humor. He was extremely family-oriented and protective of his family, especially his mom and his sisters. When I think of him, I wonder how he would have evolved as a man, what he would have achieved given the chance, and what is missing from the world because he isn't here to make that contribution. I've always envisioned him as a leader. I can still see him smiling. He always had a heart for those less fortunate than me. In 1990, my son Dana was murdered. I was told that he was murdered by an acquaintance on Louisville Avenue while trying to hail a cab. He was shot 6 times and later died from his injuries while in surgery at Boston Medical Center. I was blessed because his murderer was later apprehended and convicted. He is serving a life sentence without possibility of parole. This saddens me greatly because 2 mothers lost their sons on that fateful day because of a stupid grudge that stemmed from an 8th grade fight my son had with his murderer 5 years previously. My son is survived by a beautiful infant daughter, Kaya, who now has a handsome son named Dana. I want to tell you about how I came to the Garden of Peace. In 2004, my son Dana Cox and my nephew, Joseph Bunchy Cox, were honored at the first annual Garden of Peace Honor Program. That all came as a result of my brother, Joe Cox, Bunchy's dad, taking the initiative, gathering the requested information on my behalf, and ensuring that it made it to the garden. At that point in time, 14 years later, I was still too broken to have done it myself. But that first Garden of Peace ceremony allowed me to meet others who are members of a club that we did not sign up for. It invoked numerous emotions, some sadness to peace. And also there was that overarching feeling of love because of the acknowledgement of strangers of the importance of the loss of my loved ones. I felt special and supported like someone understood. They allowed me and showed me that with a simple stone, I could represent and acknowledge that a life was lost, a life that had meaning to family, friends, and countless others. And I say countless others because strangers who visit the Garden of Peace are moved by their knowing that another life was taken by senseless violence. So our loved ones live on and tell their story without uttering a sound. want to tell you about my work at the Garden of Peace. After participating in the ceremony, I was so moved that I started volunteering on volunteer night when I was emotionally able and ready to do so. The work that needed to be done was meaningful work, and it encouraged me and lifted my spirit. I want to tell you about my role, my participation as a board member. I became a board member in 2010. I am still a participant on volunteer night, where we send out remembrances, which are cards sent near the anniversary of the death of each lost loved one. We meet at the Area B2 Boston Police Station, and this is open to all who are willing to volunteer their time. Information can be found on our website. That's my little book. I want to tell you about what the organization has meant to me. The Garden of Peace is dear to me. It allowed us all the opportunity to come together in a constructive way in remembrance of our loved ones, to acknowledge their death, but most importantly, celebrate their lives. We are a collection of people who are all on the same track. We join ourselves together with the same goal in mind, to honor those who are no longer here because of senseless violence. In my work with the Garden of Peace, I have had the privilege of speaking to many people from all walks of life. Because of the trauma of our shared experiences, we have an immediate bond. So the Garden of Peace is one of the vehicles I have been blessed with for my use, to use my voice and my talents in order to pay it forward. I can say with certainty that what the enemy meant for evil, for my defeat, the Lord has used it for my good. So those of you who are in the midst of despair, cannot yet see the forest for the trees, just know that there is a clearance in the midst of the forest with breathtaking beauty. Thank you.
With us tonight, sharing your story and your words, and your words of hope. So it is a garden of peace, and a garden of resilience, and a garden of hope. And we will see you next year as we do this. So thank you for the work the board does during the year, for all the members of the board who are here, volunteer board that does this work, and to make sure that this garden continues to be a very sacred place, and not just for you, for everybody. And we'll say that you're always talking about Beacon Hill and this and that on Beacon Hill. So you know there's something really good on Beacon Hill. It's the Garden of Peace. You should visit it. I want to say thank you tonight to the survivors, to the friends and families of the victims of homicide. Not only for remembering those that we've lost, but for your courage in your own ways and your own time to give a voice to those who don't have a voice, and for working to prevent violence in our communities. I want to invite you, we still have some programs, so stay seated for now, but we do have refreshments in the lobby of the Salt and Small Building at the close of this. I hope you, if you have a chance, will stay as Annie did the first night and meet some other folks who are here. And before we light the candles and read the names, we are lucky to have one more wonderful musical performance from the tribe. They will be performing Rough Stone Smooth, an original song they created in memory of victims of homicide and for the survivors to come to the Peace Garden. And Leah, I must say, as wonderful as the garden is, there's wonderful music that has been inspired by Mike's song and what the tribe has done. So we thank the tribe and look forward to this next song. Thank you.
So much braver than you know.
You've come so far with far to go, and yet there still will come a day for our souls never shy away from that which makes the rough stone smooth. The whole world changes in the blink of an eye. Comes undone, rearranges before you can ask the question why. Rocks tumble through garden of days, garden of hours, garden of lives, amid lofty towers, garden of garden of peace, garden of sorrow, eternal sorrow that I journey from the past would bring a bright tomorrow. You're so much braver than you know. For our souls never shy away from that which makes the rough stone smooth. You're so much braver than you know. You're so much braver than you know. Come so far with far to go. Yet there still will come a day for our souls never shy away. You are safe, and here you know truth, and may you never shy away from that which makes the rough stones smooth.
All the volunteers that came tonight and helped us set up and have been helping survivors find their loved ones' need. So thank you so much for your time tonight. Today, on the 10th anniversary of the garden, we're here to honor the lives of over 900 victims who have lost lives. Over 10 years ago, the garden had a thought and a hope. And if it wasn't for a group of powerful, and passionate survivors and advocates, we would not be in this grounds. The original founders of the garden brought into fruition a vision that many have been thankful for. Over the years, the garden has become an inspiration and a place where survivors can honor their loved ones. On this day, we still stand by our mission. We continue to acknowledge and address the rise of violence and how we as a community can be involved to reduce it. In 10 years from now, we hope that violence in our community is significantly less or non-existent. The numbers of names added to the garden should continue to raise awareness about violence in the community and remind us that we should continue to search for peace. The mission of the garden is to create and maintain a memorial to victims of homicide that raises the awareness of the human cost of violence, to stand as a symbol of connection for the many and diverse communities and constituents in Massachusetts touched by the violence who share a common grief and a common goal, and to provide a site for visits by anti-violence education and advocacy groups, survivor groups, and individual survivors that is both innovative and inspirational. The living tributes provide a place for survivors to grieve, share their love, and remember their loved one. This year's the names will be read by the garden's founding members, who, if it wasn't for their vision, passion, and commitment, this beautiful, moving, and powerful garden would not be here. Please help me thank and welcome the founding members of the Garden of Peace that were able to join us tonight. Ready for this man? Jane Maggie. Bernadette Basha. Catherine Molina. Tony Drew. Ina Sherry. Evelyn Tobin. Mary Adams. Today, we will add 42 names to the garden, and as the names are read, we welcome you to light a candle in their honor. Thank you.
David Baker, Abdul Aziz Baker, Anthony Benjamin Hall, Elizabeth Mary Kent,
Sean Clark. Vernon P. Cobb. Jovan R. Corn. Ashley William Oxley.
Cynthia Colucci Kutanis, Harold E.C. Chavez Crawford, Michelle Marie Dowd.
Valerie Ann Sherrod, Dalton Lard. Preston Lee Lard.
William B.J. Ainsworth Jr., Nicholas Philip Hiller, Sheldon R. Innocent, Sumiko Itanaga, Darius Jones, Joshua Loveport, Jonathan Fabrice Loveport, Michael Mack, Olivia Marchand, David Barnes. Peter Margaret, James L. Mason Jr., Clarence A. McGregor.
Ariel Medina Baca, Albert Peter Miller, Catherine McBride Miller.
James Milford, Norman G. Palmer, Anthony Peoples, Jermaine Perry, Amanda Lee Glass.
Junior Jerome Pretense, Sean Repetto, James Jr. S. Rosario, Anthony Michael Santa Felucci, Kenneth Michael Rowell Jr., and Andrew Michael Slater.
Everyone has a seat where we can go to the garden. Thank you.
Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me. Where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Birds fly over the rainbow.
Thank you.